Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we discussed last week, I think Swami has, I think the most of our discussion went around should we have desire for God and sadhana or not, I think. But Swami says we should give up all desires, and so that was the gist of the discussion. Swami is talking about Nishkama Karma. He introduced it as Buddhi Yogam, that we should engage in activities without a desire for the fruits thereof. And so that's roughly what we discussed. Maybe we will read, I think there were lots of discussions. So I will ask the sisters to continue from where we left off.
One should engage in activity with a mind steady in the midst of fortune, good and bad. This was what Krishna advised in the 37th shloka. The 39th is a transitional verse for after speaking of Isha Devahidita Samkhya. I have described to you the Samkhya arguments. Krishna says that he will go on to teach him the Yoga Buddhi or Buddhi Yoga and ask him to listen with care. When the desire to attain the fruit of action is renounced with full intellectual awareness, then it becomes what Krishna calls Buddhi Yoga. The intellect has to be purified and trained. Otherwise, it is impossible to give up attachment to the fruits of action and to continue doing things as either duty or dedication. Such a purified intellect is named Yoga Buddhi. Cultivate it, and then through it, liberate yourself from the bondage of karma. Really speaking, you, the true you, are above and beyond karma. You might say that you will desist from karma rather than practice the difficult discipline of renouncing the fruits thereof. But that is impossible. No karma is inevitable. One has to do some karma or other. Not for a single moment can one free oneself from karma. Nahi haschit shanamapi, says Krishna in the 3rd chapter of the Gita.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So this is what we discussed last week. If anyone has something to add or share, please go ahead.
So now, just to understand here, like in the last paragraph, Swami says that no one can remain not doing karma, because as long as you're living, you are doing karma. The point is that in order to accumulate that karma to yourself, if you practice detachment, then you won't accumulate, but you will be doing karma regardless. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's what Swami is saying. You will not accumulate the fruits, or you are not forced to. You are not forced to experience or affect. You are not forced to be affected by the fruits thereof.
Yes.
Because karma, I think karma is unavoidable.
Even breathing is karma, right? Like if
yes, the fruits are also not avoidable. But you will not be affected by any of that. That's why Swami says, then you are free from the effects of karma. That's my understanding. I think Swami is discussing this in the subsequent paragraphs also, I think. So, see that you see, Swami is in the 2nd paragraph, Swami says, cultivate it, and then through it, liberate yourself from the bondage of karma. The bondage is because if there's bondage, you are born again and again, and that you can avoid. That's the understanding, but I think Swami will further explain this.
And Sairam, Uncle, just one other question on the second paragraph. It says the intellect has to be purified and trained. Otherwise, it is impossible to give up attachment to the fruits of actions and to continue doing things as either duty or dedication. I don't know. Can you just clarify that sentence? Like, is it saying that that you should do things either as duty or dedication, and that in that way we give up attachment?
So you are basically asking whether it's what it says in the Telugu, I guess, no? Or is just asking,
or if you have a like the what does it mean by that duty or dedication? Like what I'm thinking is dedication means offering everything to the Lord, and that way we can give up attachment. And then I'm not sure about the duty piece there.
so Swami is saying, you develop yoga buddhi with the help of that. దీని సహాయంతోనే నీవు కర్మ బంధలను బదలించుకో, మీన్స్ నువ్వు కర్మాతీతుడవు కమ్ము. So he's saying you, with this buddhi yogam, which is the purification, I think in English they are translating, with this buddhi yogam you can overcome all the fruits of actions, the bondage to the fruits of actions, and you'll transcend karma itself.
Okay.
So that, yes, so Swami saying ade buddhi yogam, buddhi nirmalamu kanide pala shakti, means the buddhi nirmalamu means without any blemish. The buddhi without any blemish is when you don't have desire for the fruit and you give that up. Veelu padadu kada means then they will not affect you. Kabatti danide yoga buddhi ani koodanu andaru. That's why it's called yoga buddhi also. Okay, and దీని సహాయముతోనే నీవు కర్మ బంధలను బదలించుకో. Through this, the help of this, you free yourself from the bondage of karma. నీవు కర్మాతీతుడవు కమ్ము. You be someone who is above karma itself, the effects of karma.
Okay, so it doesn't actually say anything about, there's this part in the English where it says as either duty or dedication.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's బంధలము కము పోని అసలు బంధములను కలిగించే చేయకుండా ఉండ. No, it doesn't say anything.
Okay.
And
I guess Swami is going to talk about how we develop buddhi yoga.
I think so.
Okay.
He's explaining further, what it is. So I think we can discuss that. Okay. The next paragraphs, I think Yes, Brother Hassan, go ahead.
Oh, Sairam, brother. So I like the middle one. The intellect has to be purified and trained. So the intellect has to be purified. My understanding is that whatever you explained last time is a discrimination. What is good for me? Is it good for my spiritual sadhana? If some are good for your five senses, but it's not going to be good for the spiritual side. So you have to be discriminate everything. When you train that your buddhi, what is good and bad, then you can train the mind. If the mind is good, that five senses cannot do anything. In this way, you can purify it. And with duty, with love, is called dharma. Then if you live in dharma, you definitely can achieve the goal. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you. Okay.
Arjuna, every karya, deed, or karma activity has a beginning and an end. But nishkama karma, desireless karma, has no such. That is the difference between the two. When karma is done with a view to the gain therefrom, one has to suffer the loss, the pain, and even the punishment. But nishkama karma frees you from all these. Desire the fruits of karma, and you get born again and again, caught up with the desire. Give up the desire, you are liberated from the flux. The practice of this type of renunciation ends the state of bondage. The main point is to stick to the goal. The goal is karma, not karma phala, fruit of action. Let me tell you that the desire or the fruit of the act is an indication of rajoguna, passion, which one's act is the indication of, which does not befit you. Perhaps you will prefer remain inactive. Well, that is an indication of tamoguna, dullness in ignorance. It is even worse than rajoguna. The Lord has laid down 4 commands. The first one is a do, and the other 3 don'ts. The first is insisting on the cultivation of strength, the rest requiring the avoidance of weakness.
Okay, thank you, sister. So Swami is differentiating nishkama karma and karma. I don't know how good the translation is, but the karma has a beginning, a mid portion where it proceeds and then it ends. Whereas nishkama karma, that's the way it has been explained. The nishkama karma does not have that. And Swami says for karma, there's possibility of punishment. The word Swami has used is shiksha, which can be translated as any one of this. But Swami, and he says nishkama karma is beyond that. It does not have this. And then he, as discussed earlier, he says karma, the fruits of karma, when we attach to, give us birth, rebirth, whereas nishkama karma frees us from rebirth. So I think, and then Swami is also equating desire for the fruits to rajoguna and giving up activity to tamoguna. So I'll stop there. If anyone has something to discuss, we can discuss, please.
Yes, Anasara, if you could explain the first line where, Swami says, karma has a beginning and the end. And I'm going back to the nishkama karma, desireless. How is that not having beginning and the ends? Because you are not thinking of the end. Like, can you explain that? I don't understand that. Nishkama karma has no, like, that isn't, you have no desire to the fruits, right? So how does the beginning and the end falls there?
See, I will just read the Telugu first. Arjuna kamya karmalaku abhikrama nashanamu nadi. So Swami is using a word called abhikrama nashana. He says for kamya karma, so actions, karma with desire. Kamya karma means action. Karma with desire has what is called abhikrama nashana. Okay. Here, because abhi is considered beginning, krama is considered progress, and nashanam is end, destruction. So that is the way it has been translated. But abhikrama nashanam can also mean Abhikrama means effort itself. Effort itself can be considered abhikrama. Nashana means that can be destroyed. There's a chance of that being destroyed. The way I understand, Swami says that Nishkama Karma does not have that. The way I understand is, when we do an action in the worldly sense, that action, that effort itself can be completely destroyed by somebody else or the circumstances. So, for example, we want to build something. For example, I will give the beach, building a castle in the beach, sand castle in the beach. So when you build a sand castle in the beach, there's a potential that can be wiped away by the waves. Okay, all your effort, whatever you started, whatever is progressing, everything can be destroyed. Whereas when you do Nishkama Karma, that karma's effect can never be destroyed. See, any spiritual effort can never be destroyed, but worldly efforts can be destroyed. So, for example, in this world, we are accumulating wealth. The day we die, whatever we earned is gone. We can't take it with us. But any spiritual sadhana we have done in terms of developing knowledge, some level of jnana, that will never be destroyed. So the Swami is saying, if you do Nishkama Karma, you will never lose anything. Whereas if you desire something in the world and do action, it will be destroyed. So this is my understanding, but we will leave it as okay. Abhikrama Nashanam. That's the word Swami is using. See that Brother Tasan, please go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Brother, go ahead.
No. That's fine.
So Sairam, brother, one more based on your thing. So any karma has end up with two things: one, either sad or happiness. So if you get sad, then you cannot the desire, then you cannot concentrate with the spiritual side. But niskama karma, you are not looking for the fruit of the action. Then you're going to be steady in the spiritual side. That is one of my addition to that one, brother. Yeah.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else has something to say?
In the second paragraph, what does it mean by the goal is karma, not karma pala? I understand that the goal is not the fruit of the action, but why is the goal karma? I thought like are we talking about the ultimate goal of life?
1 second. I'm just looking at the Telugu just to. So you are saying the main point is the goal is karma, not karma phala. That's the question you're asking, no?
Yes.
That is.
So Sairam, brother, can we like this for the merge with the God? You can use the karma, whatever your action, whatever you are doing karma. If you don't have the fruit of the action, you can merge with that one. So
Yes.
karma is important for the God.
Okay. Yes. So I want to, the translation is. I will come to your question, Kalyani. I have not ignored, but there are some sentences in the Telugu which is not there in the English. So I would like to read and go through, okay, if you all don't mind. So Swami saying, Nishkama karmaku atti shikshalu undavu. So the Nishkama karma does not have any punishment of any kinds. Palapeksha samsara hetuvu. Swami saying, the palapeksha, desire for the fruits, is the hetu for samsara. That means it is a cause of samsara itself. Palapeksha karma samsara hetu. Okay. Then he says, Palatyagamu moksha hetu. So that is giving up the fruits is the cause for moksha. Nishkama karma yoga margamunu anusarinchuvadu ఆ జన్మలోనే సిద్ధిని సాధించలేకపోయినను చేసిన కర్మ వ్యర్థము కాదు. Swami saying, a person who is practicing Nishkama karma, even if he does not attain the final goal in this birth, the effort which that person has put in will not be wasted. Okay, even if the person, sometimes will say, oh, we are going to do all this Nishkama karma. Swami says, no, you will not lose it. Okay. Vyarthamu kaadu. Vyartha means waste. It will never get wasted. Dani palamunu taruvata vachu janmamunandanainanu palinchunu. Those fruits will come back to you and help you even in your next birth. Okay, you will receive the benefits of that. Tana lakshyani avasyam sadhincha vachunu. You will once you are on this path, it will help you achieve that goal without fail. Avasyam, okay. Kanuka karma yande adhikaram unchuko kani karma palamunandu adhikaramu unchuko vaddu. So that's what Swami is telling. So what Krishna is telling, keep the adhikara on the karma, don't keep the adhikara on the karma phala, which is what your question is, Kalyani. So Swami is saying, take ownership of the action. Do not take ownership of the fruits. Don't keep, it's an instruction, okay? Don't keep ownership on the fruits. Okay. So that is what Swami is saying. Keep the goal as karma, not karma phala. That's what. So the word Swami has used adhikara. Adhikara means, we have discussed the word adhikara before also. Swami said you have adhikara for karma, but don't keep adhikara for fruits. Don't keep. He's saying that it's not that you don't have. You don't keep. Ma phaleshu. That's another thing which Swami discussed. Then I'll stop here. If anyone else has something to say, please say.
Just one clarification on that, what you read, because even Swami says here, these fruits will help you in your next birth. But I guess we should not keep those fruits in mind when we're doing karma.
Exactly.
Sairam, brother. I know this second paragraph, there's some kind of confusion in that sentence. When you do with a desire for fruit of action, that is a Rajoguna, which does not benefit you. Then it says there, than that you can prefer to remain inactive. So inactive comes as Tamoguna. Okay. Then Tamo is asking to be inactive to be Taboguna. But then again, it is even worse than Rajoguna. I don't know how that is coming back again. Asking to not to stay. Then again, they're saying, no, that's not right. So something is not
confusing.
yes.
So I will ask anyone else to speak up.
Sairam, I think like you don't stay those two. You have to move to the Sattvaguna or Sattviga to go, because like you shouldn't be inactive. Or Rasaguna is like you are really, but it's a really fast mode or whatever. It's not, doesn't take you the goal. So you have to control your discipline, and that's how you can achieve the goal. That's what I believe that what Swami trying to say is Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Brother Dasan, please go ahead.
So, Saram, brother. So, the action, when you do the karma only, you can achieve the self-realization. If you don't do the karma, tamas, then you are not going to go anywhere. So that means rajas is better than tamas. But rajas, the problem is you have the desire, fruit of the action. And when you come to the sattvic, there is no desire for the fruit of the action. So sattvic is always good. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else, please?
Sairam, my just little understanding and what I understood is why it is worse not to do any action. That as a human being, when we take birth as a human being, it is decided that we have to do karma. Without karma, we cannot. I mean, it's not acceptable. What I have learned, I think, I don't know even if from Swami's discourses or even in this discussion that even when Lord take birth in a human form, he has to do action. Like we have seen Swami from morning until evening, he's giving darshans, interview. So even Lord himself has to do some action. So not doing any action is the worse than anything, even worse than Rajoguna. That's my understanding.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else has something to say?
Anna, this is
yes, Sai Satish.
yeah. Just so it's about moving from inaction to action with desire for fruit of those actions or the passion for it, and the step beyond that is just action per se. So for me, that correlates to me being in the moment. So when I am in the moment, there is no basically there is no expectation of, like I had mentioned this point previously as well, but comes back to me again from the sense that it is just about being in the present, not looking forward, not looking back, just being present there. Now I am discussing about this whole point in this satsang, so I just stay with that. I am not worried about any other thing that is happening elsewhere or basically in other parts of my mind. I am just in this moment, being with this moment and being totally committed. So when Swami comes for darshan and when he interacts with the person there and takes a letter and gives namaskar, for that person, it's like Swami is for him only. Swami has taken avatar for him. Like that, it gives the feeling, because Swami gives 100% of himself in that moment. And with that coming of that 100% of that moment, it is something like if I were to see, it is not expecting that, oh, this because of that, this devotee will transform or this will happen, or just being there. So if I were to see every moment, 100%. Now this moment has passed, I am into the moment that is following. I give my 100%. But again, I'm looking from moment to moment, but not what gets attached to that moment in terms of what that moment will bring in terms of happiness or sorrow or whatever it has to offer. So staying from moment to moment, without the past, without the future, it helps. So if I am staying at that one moment, there is only that one moment. There is no duality. Wherever duality comes, it becomes like fruit and fruits of action. But where there is only singularity, that is only action and no duality of the fruit, then the moment flows on, the effort flows on, there is no expectation, and that goes on from moment to moment. It becomes a continuous, seamless effort, which can help one progress without looking for the fruit of what that moment offers. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. Sairam, anyone else would like to say anything? Sister Aruna, you are okay with that question? I don't know whether yes.
Sairam, brother. I'm just thinking about it still.
See, so I will give the example. Arjuna didn't want to fight. Okay, so Krishna, told all sorts of things, and he made him, get up and start fighting. Okay, so when he didn't want to fight, it was tamas. I don't want to do anything. That type of action. Then he woke him up. You're a Kshatriya, people are going to call you this, that. And then he was ready to fight. So his rajas came up. Then Krishna wanted to make sure that it was not only in rajas. Now he goes to the next level, to the, as Brother Varadan said, sattvic state, where, because in the rajas you are fighting because you want to win. Then Krishna says, don't fight to win. Winning or losing is the fruit. Don't pay attention to that. You just focus on that will happen tomorrow. And as Brother Sai Satish says, that is future. Don't worry about the future. Whether you will win tomorrow or not, it doesn't matter. Now you are fighting, just fight. Don't keep your eye on the fruit. There may be losses, there will be gains, but don't be affected by any of that. You just fight. That is the rajas and tamas. So even though when somebody is woken up from sleep, if they start running here and there, you will say, calm down. This is not going to take you. So Krishna is treating that also in advance, because he knows he's going to ask Arjuna to fight, so he's going to jump and fight, but he wants it to be a sadhana. He wants it to, it is spiritual sadhana, not just a worldly fight. So I think that's why he's trying to teach him sattva stage.
Yes. So moving from Raju or Damas to Satya. That's what it is.
Yes.
Thank you, Sairam.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamya. Okay, something like that. Does anyone else have something to say?
Sairam, Uncle, I just had a clarification on the previous point. You mentioned it's not the goal is karma, but it's like adhikari, right? Like you're,
yes.
So it's like the karma, you're entitled to the karma, but not the fruit of the karma.
Yes. If you there's a verse called karmaneva adhikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana. Okay. That is actually Swami has said that in Telugu, which is you are an adhikari for karma, not for, don't aspire for the fruits. Okay, not that you are not an adhikari, but you don't aspire for it. Okay, ma phaleshu. That's what Swami said.
And just a question about that though. So if I think that, okay, well, this karma is mine, like I'm entitled to karma. So like what I'm doing, this is mine, this action is mine. Doesn't that bring about a sense of doership, I guess?
Very good question. Okay, so anyone who would like to comment on this? So Kalyani is saying that, if we identify that as our action, does not that doership come into play?
So, Sairam, brother, if you do any action, the duality is there. But if you don't have that desire for the fruit of the action, and you surrender to the God, then you will be okay. You are not affected by the duality. Thank you, Sairam.
Okay, thank you, brother. Anyone else would like to comment?
Sairam, also you can think it that way, like, okay, I'm doing it for this God's sake. It's not I am expecting anything from that. And that also lead to that you don't have the desire. That's the important thing there. You don't have any desire to do that karma. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother.
Brother, there is a question here. I'm not expecting here anything. I'm not expecting here anything kind of when you are doing service. Also, there is a duality in or not. I just was thinking.
You are asking, yours is a follow-up question on what already Kalyani has asked. So are we identifying with ourselves? So there is a duality. I am acting, I'm not doing action, I'm not doing action. I am doing it. All that, is that a problem? I think that's the question which you're asking. Again, I will open it up for discussion.
I think that is not right. You have to do it without thinking, I think. When I'm thinking is I am doing it, that is also kind of ego is attached to it. That's why I'm thinking. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to comment? I think maybe what I will do is, so Kalyani, it's a good question, and I think that's a good question from Sister Aruna also. I think, but you're a little ahead of what Swami is telling, because Swami is building up slowly. And there's a verse in Geetha which says, Nimitra matram bhava savyasachi. So when you're doing the action also, think that you are the instrument, not the doer. So that comes later on. So I think let's defer that discussion, if you don't mind me asking you that. Yes, Brother Yoga.
Saram, the Dharmaraja, when they asked the elephant, tell us the name of the son of this, who is this, the Guru's sons.
Yeah, Ashwatthama.
Yeah. That's the same thing has happened to Archana too, kind of thing. And Archana say, what Lord Krishna say, I did. I don't follow it. He didn't worry about that action result and the karma. But this Dharmaraja, he thought, oh, I told lie, it's going to affect me, kind of thing. He went on the karma kind of thing. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, brother. Yes.
Yeah. I think that kind of actions come into story. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much, brother. Yes, that's right.
Sairam.
Yes, Auntie.
This is how I have understood. Arjuna wanted to fight earlier with his Rajaskuna, and he was identifying his valor and that he is doing it. And when he saw all his relatives, gurus and everyone, he became inactive and he threw everything. He wanted to not to fight. That is the tamas guna. There also he is relating to his body. He is thinking with his body. But what Krishna wants him to do is to think that, to know that he has already planned. Krishna has already planned. So you do the karma itself only. When you do nishkama karma, you don't identify with your body because you are offering to God and God has planned already. You are just an instrument, you do it. This is what I understood from this. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
And just to add to the discussion, I believe when you add yourself, is it my karma, then there is a beginning and the end. It's attached, whether you believe, whether we see, or when we say, I am doing, whether we say it's a nishkam karma, but the minute we think it's I am doing it, it's my karma, there is a beginning and there's an expectation. But when you're just acting without, as Swami said, intellectually you have to come out of that thinking process. When you're just acting to the nature, to people, to environment, then I believe that then you're not attaching, oh, it's my action, whether it's seva. I don't know, it makes sense, but this is what I understood.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else has something to say?
Sairam, Uncle, before we move on, I'm not sure if I missed it, but just the last sentence or the last two where it says, the Lord has laid down 4 commands. The first one is a do and the other 3 are don'ts. Have we already covered that or is that to come?
No, I was waiting if anyone wanted to know that. No one has, we have not discussed it.
Okay.
But I think that's a quiz now. What are the 4 things Krishna is saying? Because Swami is saying he has already said that. So I will ask anyone who wants to offer, what are the 4 commands which Krishna has given? Which is the first, to do something, and which are the other 3 which he says don't do? So anyone wants to? I mean, I think no one wants to.
Sairam, brother. The first one is we studied about the surrender. The second one is I think Sankhya karma. That means what is good and everything. The third one is we are studying karma. The fourth one Swami is going to explain, I think. That's what I understand, brother, whatever we studied. Thank you.
No, the Lord has already laid down 4 commands.
Yes.
So, which were discussed in this, I think, in these few paragraphs so far. So, what does Swami wants us to do, and what does Swami wants us not to do? I think that's the question. Well, at least we can start with the not to do, if everyone is okay. What are the 3 things Swami is saying not to do? I think so. I think I will have to go. I will have to answer I will give answers and you can stand in judgment and say whether I passed or not. So I will start with the don'ts. Swami is saying don't give up action. Okay. So that is don't. One don't. Okay. Then he says don't seek the fruits of action. Number 2. Then he's saying, so don't remain inactive, don't aspire for the fruits, but you are then the to do is karmanyevadikara. You are do the action. Okay, do the action without aspiring for the fruits. Don't give up action. So I have come up with 3. One left, which I also missed. Anyone wants to guess?
That I am the doer, so the words doing things.
Okay, I am the doer.
So give up the desire and everything. The last one.
So if we go back to the actually, shall we? I think what we will do. Go to the. I think go to the previous paragraphs and then we can see whether is there anything he's saying. So one should engage in activity. Is this you don't have any previous paragraphs, no, on this?
I do. I can go back.
No problem. Don't worry. We will try with this. I think it should be here. One should engage in activity with the mind steady in the midst of fortune. So not be affected by. So be engaged in activity. Don't be affected by fortune or loss. Okay. Then don't desire for the fruits. Don't give up action. Okay.
Sorry, what is the fourth one?
So the first one is engage in activity
Right.
according to your dharma.
So do, yeah.
Okay. Then don't be affected by the dualities which you face. Good or bad, anything can happen. Don't be affected by it. Then don't seek the fruits of action. Then don't sit idle. Don't give up. Okay. So this is my understanding. If anyone who can come with a better one, then come up with. Actually, we have gone to more or less the third chapter of Gita. So where Swami is talking about this. Okay.
The last sentence describe about it, right? The first is insisting of cultivation of strength. That's the do. Then the rest is the avoidance of the weakness.
Yes.
All three, right? So don't, you are asking to do action and don't affected by that and don't look for fruits of action. Those are the three don't. Then the rest require avoid, so we can avoid those ones. Yes. Okay, thanks.
Okay. It's like Swami's quiz, actually. Swami, the way he writes is funny. So,
Actually, Anna, this looking at the recipe that Swami has given, Swami used to actually hold the kerchief in his hand and give this example. He's saying if you let go of the kerchief, it's easier. To hold on to the kerchief is difficult. He used to show with the kerchief during the discourse. He used to drop it and see how easy it is. To hold on to it is actually difficult. If you let go, you will be at peace. So if you see the one do and the three don'ts, it's actually, in the ultimate sense, if we are in that same synchronized with what Swami is saying in that thing, it's a complete recipe for total freedom. It's like complete letting go of the kerchief and just free
yes.
of it. But the problem is so attached to holding the kerchief that even if Swami is trying to tug it from the other side, Swami, I'll hold on to the kerchief strongly, kind of a thing is. So it's a good thing to remember of letting go. Like it's so beautiful. Like just having only the thing on the action, not being affected by the duality, not looking forward to the fruits. Continue means don't be in like Newton's 3 laws of the thing, right? Like that. So just complete freedom. It's giving that kind of a thing, but only to remain in that and stay focused of giving up. So I think the moment we let go, it becomes very, very easy to let go. So, and surrender, let go and surrender. Yeah.
So I'd like to add to the last point, Brother Sai. So when we give up the desire, the main reason is the five senses. If we can control the five senses, then it's easy to overcome with our problems. So we have to train the five senses. Because as a nature, we talked about before too, as a nature, when the baby born, we'll give the milk. Then mother force the baby to give the solid food. Same way, when we born, our senses go always outwardly, think about everything. So now, from the sadhanas, we have to move inwardly in order to give up the desires. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. So I think we have sort of covered almost every sentence on this slide. So we can move on to the next one if it's okay.
Of course, it is not Arjuna alone that got such advice. The whole of mankind needs it. Arjuna is only the representative man. Students of the Gita must learn this lesson first, that the Gita is primarily for every seeker. Another point to be noted is this: Gita is addressed to man, not to birds and beasts or to the gods or devatas. Man performs acts prompted by the desire for the fruits thereof. If the act does not yield fruit, he will not do the act at all. Profit, gain, reward, result. These man seeks. But this rule does not apply to those who take the Gita in their hands to drink the nectar of the Lord's message. Not all do yearn for the nectar. If you do so, it is evident that you aspire for eternal joy, eternal liberation. Then you must pay the price and giving up of the desire for the fruit of action and dedicate everything at the feet of the Lord.
Thank you very much, sister. I don't think there's much for me to say. I was just open it up for discussion. Anyone can share your thoughts, please.
With that, just a note only, just a note. It says Gita addressed to man, not for others. I think others are not looking for fruit of the action, maybe. That's the reason.
Yes.
Birds, animals, God, they won't. So because this is the Gita is given to man because they look for the fruit of the action.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else?
Sorry, Ramanka, I just don't know if there's anything more to this sentence, the last sentence of the first paragraph. Students of the Gita must learn this lesson first, that the Gita is primarily for every seeker. So is it just saying that the Gita is like for anyone seeking, they can read the Gita and find the answers?
So I will just read the Telugu version. Swami says, Kana Manavulandariki Karma Yanda Adhikaramu Kaladani Bhavincha Valanu Oka Arjunanuke Kadu. So Swami is saying for all mankind, this Karma Adhikaram lessons is applicable not only for Arjuna. Then he goes on to say, Arjuna ni Manava Pradinidhiga Bhavincha Valanu. We should treat Arjuna as the representative of all human beings. Adi ye Geetha Patakulu Modatta Gamanincha Valasina Vishyamu. That is the first thing which all the students of Gita should consider as a first thing. So every student of Gita should first understand that this Gita is meant for every person in this world, And Arjuna is only a representative of all of us. And that is something which we should first understand. That Modatta Gamanincha Valanu means Gamanincha means you should pay attention to it first. Okay, that's the word. It's not the first lesson. Modatta Gamanincha Valanu means you have to first pay attention to this as a student of Gita. Okay?
Yes.
That answer. Yes. And Swami's about mankind, Swami says, I don't know, I will just read that. Swami says, Iddulo Marokoti Telisi Kona Valanu means there's another thing which you need to understand, you need to know. Emana Karmadikaramu Manavulake Kani Pashupati Pakshadulaku Kani Devadulaku Kani Kadani Arthamu. So only man has adhikara for action. The adhikara for action is not applicable to birds, beasts, and gods. That is what Swami said. For birds and beasts and gods, there is no adhikara for action.
What is the adhikara mentioned in the fruit
We
of
have
action?
discussed ownership. See, I think the way I understand, sister, only you see, if you look at the birds and beasts, they don't engage in action the way man engages in action. Because man is given what's called mind, which is always seeking to do something for the benefit of something. Okay. So even that's why Swami says, even people in Devaloka, when they have to engage in action, they have to be born as human beings. See, you can become a resident of the heavens by merit. If you do a lot of good actions, you attain heaven. But when all your good merits are done, you can't do, sitting there, you can't do action to earn merit. You have to come down again to earth to engage in action. So the only man has the ability to engage in action. Others don't have that. Adhikara means
everyone engage in action, but only thing man is look for the fruit of the action. Is
so
that it? Yeah.
it's man's responsibility to act. It's
So in a way, taking a birth as a human being is yes, we can say it's not a blessing because you take birth and you have to go through pain, but at the same time, it's a blessing that you can perform actions where beasts, birds, and even devtas cannot do that act. Isn't it? Like
yes.
one time we are discussing that, taking a birth and rebirth is just your karmas, but at the same time, we should be always, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. At the same time, then it's a very, I'm losing a word. It's not the pious, it's a, the highest level of, what is it called? In taking a birth as a human being, it's a blessing as well.
Yes, sister. Thank you.
Sai Ram, this is Akko Auntie. I understood like this because even though you are a deva or in heaven or anything, you have to come down and take a human birth to merge with God, to get your soul liberated. So that is the main reason that body has been given to, human body has been given to souls. But when you get start doing karma, we eventually look for gain and profit and any kind of fruit out of it. But if you do so, you cannot get yourself liberated. So the best thing you can do is to do nishkama karma and get your soul liberated. So this is why Baba has saying, Krishna said that this is not for the birds and animals and everything, but for the human beings. But even in human beings, not all human beings are going to be in the same level. So this is what I understood. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much. Yes, Brother Dasan, you have something?
Yes, Sairam brother. So here I like this one. Arjuna is the only the representative man. So whatever you said is that he is the representative for the people. So the reason is we don't need to teach everyone because it doesn't go to everyone. If you who is deserved, so Arjuna is a deserved person among all the people. So I can remember one of the story that Janaka Maharaja and his guru is Suga. Suga, when he teaches spiritual, Janaka Maharaja sit with other people. And the audience, we have a lot of audience where they are learned people and everyone is there. One day he didn't come to the class. So he just waited and waited. He didn't come. The people are very frustrated. Why this our guru is waiting for the king? He is not supposed to be differentiate. He's supposed to start the class, but he still not started. He sent some people to look why Maharaja didn't come. Then he sent some. Then they came and told he's engaged with some deities, but he's going to come. But he came late. Until that, he didn't start. Then he wants to prove that one why he did it. He produced or some kind of thing in that city smoke. Then half of the people ran away. The people, they think that they have ego and everybody. And Janaka Maharaja, when they study circle at the spiritual time, he focused on that one. He forgot about everything. Then some people came and told, your palace is getting fire now. But he didn't listen to that one. He's in the spiritual thing. So then all the people who went, they all came back and said nothing was there. Then the Suga told, when the spiritual thing, I don't need to teach everyone. Who have the eager to learn, they will stay. And they'll deserve for that one. Instead of teaching 1,000 people, I can teach only one person. Even the study circle, we are not looking for the numbers. So who is eager? So here, Arjuna is the deserved person that Lord Krishna selected. Then from him, the world can learn everything. That is my understanding, brother. At the same time, other creatures don't have the knowledge to gain that self-realization. Only human has a self-realization because of the knowledge. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Thank
I'm
you
sorry
very much.
for taking that time.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else has something to say?
Sairam, and I think this is very beautifully that Swami explained. The Arjuna is the representative for the human, and even though so many people, the human have the only power to do the self-realization, and the other birds or animals, they don't have that power. So that's what, and also, and so many people, even though they read that the Gita, and for us, for example, that able to hear that and recognize the process of that, and even the human beings, so many human beings there, but not everybody able to come through this or read the Gita or going through this, so they didn't have a chance for that. But so that's what he pointed that Arjuna, and then whoever can now, we could be able to read this one, and we can process ourselves to go for the nishkama karma, whatever the karma we are doing, and that without expecting any fruit of action. And that's what this thing's going for with Sairam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Any other thought from it? There's one sentence which Swami has written in the Telugu book, which is not translated. After the, whatever he says, so far it's translated. One sentence he says, Adi Shantini Chekurchunu. That will grant you peace. What do you do here? The one more sentence you have to add. Then you must pay the price, give up the desire for the fruit of action, and dedicate everything at the feet of the Lord. This will grant you peace. Shantini Chekurchunu. That's the Shanti. As we can see, Arjuna was troubled. Initially, he was troubled by the war and everything. By the time Lord Krishna finished talking, he was at peace. Then he started the fight.
Brother,
Yes.
the one thing I want to know, okay, Arjuna was selected and he was troubled, okay, but before trouble, the what mentality Arjuna had it for Krishna to choose? Arjuna is the representative of man. So what mentality Arjuna had it, or what quality he had it, that will tell us which quality we have to arrive to learn this Gita. So that's because you have the trouble and doubt and everything that which we can clear by reading, but something for you to attain before reading the Gita is Arjuna. So Arjuna's part, just a little bit of about the state of mind, or what quality, kind of. We discuss on it, then we can.
Very good question, sister. I will open it up for anyone to say.
I think, did we start with that kind of the Gita? Like he kind of, he surrendered himself to Krishna and said, Krishna, you please guide me, or you tell me. So he literally gave up himself, right? When we started the Gita, isn't that when Krishna started speaking? Okay. Is that not what it is?
It is also, sister, but I will ask everyone's view.
Okay.
I think there, each of us may catch one or two aspects of it. So that is true. Anyone else would like to add to what Sister has already said?
One thing, Anna.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So this question is also asked the same lines again with what Sister had mentioned. Why Arjuna got the Bhagavad Gita and not somebody like Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira? He is the epitome of Dharma. Why didn't he get the thing? So one of the answers, I if I remember, I think it is from Bhagawan, but I don't want to. I'm not too sure, but let me put across this point.
Yes.
So with Arjuna, he is a Purva Tapi, in the sense, before doing the action, before getting into the battle, he in front of the Lord sought the clarification, got the understanding, and then got into doing the action of going forward with the battle. In the case of Dharmaraja, he is Paschatapi, in the sense, after the action has been committed, the whole war is over, then Dharmaraja is despondent that such a great battle happened and lives were lost. And then he goes on to do the Ashwamedha Yaga with, of course, once again with Krishna's guidance and all that. So one chief point is, one, being a Purva Tapi, in the sense, before performing the action, getting the guidance, clarification, everything, and then engaging in action, versus Paschatapi in the context of Dharmaraja. So this is one point that comes to me. I will keep recollecting other points if there are more to this, but at this point, this is what is
Very good.
Very nice point.
So, Param brother, I like to ask Sai too. Dharmaraja, first of all, when that action finished, he had the mentality of worries. So he will worry. So the duality is there. So he's not a suitable person. And the second is, when they, Sakuni and Triodhana called for the dice game, he didn't think about Lord Krishna. That also his weak point. So he's not deserved for the Geetha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Any other thought? Okay, so maybe I will go. So it was a nice side. I think Swami has answered this question in many different ways. Why Arjuna was selected. That's one story Swami tells. Just a couple of days before the war, Krishna tells Arjuna, come for a walk, and he goes. I think all of you would have heard this story. He goes and, they're talking about a variety of things, and suddenly Krishna points to the sky and shows a bird and says, that's, an eagle. Then Arjuna says, yes, it's eagle. I think all of you know the story. He says, okay, it is peacock. Then Arjuna says it's peacock. Then he says it's a sparrow. He says, oh, it's a sparrow. Then Krishna says, don't you have some independent thinking? You are just repeating whatever I say. Then Arjuna says, whatever you say, you will make it so. So there's no point in me telling anything. So Swami says, Krishna already tested the waters to see whether Arjuna is ready to receive. So that kind of total acceptance of what the Lord says, Arjuna was willing to accept without questioning whether it's right, wrong. He did not have any independent thinking to what the Lord was saying. He just accepted it as is without analyzing it, having total faith and surrender. That he exhibited that he is capable of that before the war. Even in the previous chapters, Swami has discussed. He says Krishna even started teaching Arjuna. Initially, he cried. He told all. He was Vishada Yogam. He was upset and this and that. Then at one point, he says he gives prapatti is the word Swami used. Prapanna, prapatti, full surrender. He says, just the way you are going to ride this chariot, you drive my life also. So he asked the Lord to take charge. So he gives. So again, the second point also, he has given surrender. Then we also should know that Arjuna is the one who went to ask Krishna to come and fight on their side. But he chose only Krishna, not even the army which Krishna offered. So I think Arjuna's qualification was he wanted only the Lord, not the world. He was willing to accept whatever he said. And he completely surrendered and said, the Lord, you take over my life. And then Swami, and there are other points which Swami has mentioned, why Bhishma didn't get, because Bhishma was not standing for Dharma. There was a situation. That's why he lost it. Dharmaraja, as Sai Satish said, he had paschatapa, hindsight. He is depressed with hindsight, whereas Arjuna was depressed with foresight. Before engaging in an activity, he will analyze and find what can go wrong. That's foresight, which is purva tapa. If you want to feel bad before the act, not after the act. Which is paschat means after, purva means before. So Arjuna demonstrated that. And Bhima was always ready to, he was, Arjuna was also an ideal student because Bhima was not capable of asking questions. like the way Arjuna analyzed and asked. So as a good student, Arjuna proved always a good student, because even Drona found him to be a good student. You know, Krishna needed a student who will ask good questions, intelligent questions. So for all these reasons, Arjuna was accepted. That's what Swami has said. Even in the previous chapter, Swami has mentioned here and there. But here, actually, the last paragraph, Swami is giving us also some encouragement. He is saying, not all yearn for the nectar. See, we are all sitting and reading, whether we understand in a limited way or not, we are reading. So we are showing interest and we want to drink the nectar from Swami. Not all do yearn for the nectar. If you do so, he knows that we have read 4 chapters, so we have kept up, we didn't give up. And so he knows, okay, these are candidates who can benefit somewhat. Even if we don't practice everything in this lifetime, Swami says, don't worry, next life you can definitely finish it off. Okay, so he is giving us that encouragement earlier on. And he says, then pray the price. He wants us to give up fruits of action. So he's giving us that encouragement. And then he says, don't worry, if you continue, you will attain peace of mind. Prashanti. You will attain Prashanti. That's my understanding. I hope.
Thank you very much, brother.
I just try to summarize and recollect whatever we have read so far. I will just pause, stop here. If anyone has something to add, please go ahead. See, I think. Yes, please. Go ahead.
No, I believe I was just thinking, because Arjuna had full faith and he was following exactly what Krishna was saying. And I think in the first chapter, we also read Gita is all about remembering and doing it. So remember and then do it. So Arjuna was ready. So it's not just listening. And as you said, he was contemplating, he was asking, he was analyzing, and he was doing it. So that's why he was that soul who was ready to receive.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else something to say?
Sai Ram, this is Akku Aunty. I have a question. You said you will get peace. Is it liberation, or what kind of peace it means?
Liberation is peace, Auntie, from what I understand.
Okay. I just want to confirm it. Thank you.
That's my understanding, but I will ask others also to add. Sai Ram.
So Sai Ram, brother. So I like to add to your point also, brother. Arjuna had a friendship also with Lord Krishna, and also he's a brother-in-law too, and they were very friendly type too. So it's very convenient to talk to Arjuna. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Very, very nice, brother. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I think in a sense, Swami is also telling, look here, don't worry about others who don't come and read. Think that you are the representatives. Everyone can be a representative. Learn. And I think that's also a command indirectly Swami is telling us. Anyone who is willing to come will become naturally a representative of mankind. And by us learning and putting it into practice in our own lives, the world will benefit. And the Lord will take care of that. And that's all He wants from us. So I think if I will just pause, if there's anyone else who has something to say, otherwise we can close the session and continue next week. Anyone who has something to say?
I know I already asked this question last time and again to you, but here it seems like Swami is like dangling this carrot, like you'll get eternal joy and peace, but you can't desire it. So like.
So it's a very nice question. Okay. I will tell a story. If people have 5 minutes to spare, I will tell a story. In Mahabharata, there is a story of.
Brother, repeat the question and tell the story.
Okay, the story is Kalyani doesn't want to have the desire, but she wants it. That's a problem. Swami says, eternal joy you will get. And Auntie Sakku was asking, will I get liberation? So all these are desires. And then Swami has said, don't have desire. So then Kalyani's question is, okay, is it a desire? Is it a good desire? Or should we not have it? I think that is the dilemma. Okay. I think it was discussed because we discussed it as a golden chain also, spiritual desire. There's a story I came across. It's from Swami's Bhagavata Vahini, because there was another small study circle which goes on with a couple of youth. So a few youth who are reading Bhagavata Vahini. Once a month we read. So I happened to read today and they asked a question. So I think it's nice to discuss because we are talking about it. I don't know whether you know that there was once apparently Agni, the god of fire god, approached Arjuna and Krishna and said he's hungry and he wanted a forest to burn a forest because his hunger could not be appeased. So then when he came and asked, they said, okay, why don't you go and just burn any forest? No problem. Why are you coming to us? You have all the power. Then he says, no. When I burn the fire, sometimes the animals escape. I don't want anyone to escape. Animals, snakes, all of them escape. I don't want them to escape. So I need your help to make sure that they don't escape. So then Arjuna says, okay, I will do the job for you, but I need arrows. So enough arrows which I can use to kill or put all the animals and snakes which escape back into the forest, so you can burn them all. So he was given a chariot which we can ride, and he was given a container of arrows which is it will never never go empty. It's an akshayam, it will come back. So Arjuna took that and the fire started. The forest was called Khandava.
Khandava Prastha.
Yes, Khandava. Okay. So the forest was burnt. So it looks very sad, isn't it? People are escaping and Arjuna is putting everyone back. And then there was one snake called Daksha. He was the king of all snakes. He escapes and Arjuna puts him back. Then he seeks the help of Maya. Maya was architect of the heavens. Okay, he's a heavenly architect. He seeks his help. And with his help, both of them are running towards Kurukshetra. And then, of course, they run and get a hold of them, and the story goes like that. Okay. And Arjuna finishes the job, and God Agni was very, very happy about it. So as some of you know that Dakshaka, which is the snake, which Indra and Maya were trying to protect, was used by Karna to attack Arjuna later. And of course, Krishna went and said, only use it once. That's the story of Mahabharata. But the thing is, the youth asked me, why did this happen? And Swami is writing one entire chapter, I think chapter 16 or 17, on this. It seems very silly. How can all these animals are burnt? There was no compassion, nothing. The reality is, Khandava means sugar candy. The forest is the forest of sugar candy. So in this world, everything is enjoyment. All pleasures are like sweets. And the fire is the fire of wisdom. And the fire of wisdom has to be fully burning. So if any animal qualities escape, that has to be put back into the fire and they have to be burned to ashes. Any snake which slithers out, which the desire, poisonous desires, we have to throw it back and burn it. Then Daksha, that is the king of all snakes. Okay, he asks Indra to help. Indra is nothing but your senses and the mind. Mind is the Indra because he is the boss of all the Indriyas. Okay, the mind always tries to protect desires. Okay, and how? With the help of Maya, illusion. And where are they running? They are running to the Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is the land of action. So even these desires, even spiritual desires, sometimes drag us to. Even that has to be thrown. And who is helping? Arjuna is doing the work, attacking every animal and desire, and the one who is pointing out is the Lord. Okay. We don't have to desire for the Lord because the Lord is already with us. He says, you don't need to have a desire. You give up all desires, I am yours. Okay. So we don't have to seek. That's what Swami says, you don't have to seek me everywhere. I'm with you already. If you think I need to attain you, that itself means you are ignorant. So my understanding is just focus on getting rid of everything else. What is left will be the Lord. Even we will not be there. Okay, so then once we understand that, we will not approach even God with the desire. That's my understanding. It's a long story. I'm sorry about it. But it was fresh in my mind, so I thought I might as well share that. So we don't need to have desire for the Lord because the Lord is already with us. Because when we think we have to attain the Lord, we think the Lord is somewhere far away and we have to go. He says, you are not realizing that I'm with you. Just realize it and that's it.
Thank you, brother. You just, with that one story, you bring the whole thing together. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sairam, brother. Sairam.
Anna, if you don't mind, I just wanted, you tempted me to add just one point in 1 minute, I'll tell.
No problem, no problem.
So Swami says, this is exactly what Swami says. He says, to remove one thorn, you need another thorn. So he used to actually say, if the police has to catch the thief, and if the thief has gone through the back door, the police also has to go through the back door. He cannot go through the front door. So he says, to remove the thorn, you need another thorn. So to remove this thorn, which is embedded in us of these desires, you need the biggest desire for or love for God. Take that thorn, remove this thorn, but ultimately that other thorn which we are holding also, we have to throw it away. So Swami used to say, use that thorn to remove this thorn, then throw that other thorn also away. So that ultimately the desire, what we say for God, also vanishes, and like we become one with Swami. That Sayujya thing happens. So just adding to what Anna was saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sai.
Sairam, brother, one more small thing about the Bhagavad Gita. So when you are listening to the Bhagavad Gita, when you are participating in the Bhagavad Gita here or anywhere, if you listen with the devotion and the love, you definitely get the blessing of the God. Even brother leading us, so he had a lot of blessing from the God. So I can say one of the examples, Sabari waited for a longer time. So you don't, same thing, don't look for the fruit of the action. So wait for the, exercise the saburi, the patient, and you'll get the peace. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother, Sairam. So I think it's 4:30 as we will close and continue next week. I think it's a new chapter. I think we are starting. These words will close with Samastaloka, Sairam. Oh, Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति 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 Sai Ram everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sairam.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram.